Hi, Todd Martin here with The Walking Code. In this video, I'm going to do an exercise for you that's going to help you practice the swing through phase of gait. But before we get started, go ahead and click that like button, and that's going to make sure that YouTube shares more videos like this with you and other viewers. The swing phase of gait begins when the rear leg leaves the ground and begins to swing forward. We're going to use this staircase here behind me to practice this swing phase of gait. And what we're going to focus on is how to use our hips to initiate the swing phase effectively. Practice this exercise with me. What I want you to do is stand on a stair and step down and then lower your heel. This is going to be the beginning position for the exercise. You can be on your right or left leg. For now, I'm going to be on my right leg. My heel is on the ground. My left leg is still touching the stair with a flexed knee. And I'm standing in this position. This position is going to be a stand-in for the conclusion of our change of weight. Where in a normal step, I would have placed my heel and shifted forward until my foot is flat on the ground. Core-wise, that's going to be the same position that I'm in right now, and this is the position that I'm going to begin to initiate the swing phase of gait. This is a good exercise to do because we can stand perfectly still, balanced with my foot on the stair, and check our posture and our position before we begin that swing phase of gait. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is how we're going to initiate this. Let me put my foot back up here. Get in this position. What I want you to do is make sure your foot is flat on the ground. Make sure the ball of your left foot, or the foot that's on the stair, is touching the staircase. Tuck your pelvis on the side of the leg that's on the ground. So my right leg, the right hip is tucked under, the pelvis is tucked under using my lower abs, and effectively I am reaching forward with the right side of my upper core. So you can use your right arm to reach forward to feel the upper core position, tuck your pelvis on the right to feel the lower core position, and we're flexing our left hip. That's going to be the hip action. Notice if I keep lifting my hip up, I flex it, it doesn't swing my leg forward. That's not going to initiate the swing through. How we're going to initiate the swing through is by using my right hip. What I'm going to do is lift the body forward with the right hip, and that is going to do the swing through. So begin in this position, check your posture. You should be completely vertical, pelvis tucked, eyes gazing straight forward, and we're going to lift and then change weight, and then that's going to begin the next step. What I want you to do now is use your hip the wrong way. I want you to use extension of your hip to initiate the swing through. From this position, with my left hip flexed, I'm going to demonstrate what happens if you try to extend your right leg hip in order to take the step. This is what's going to happen. I'm not actually going to go anywhere, because what hip extension is doing is, if this is my leg and this is my pelvis, hip extension is bringing my pelvis backwards, or it's increasing the angle in front of the body and decreasing the angle in back of the body. If my body was forward, that could get me to push forward. But when I'm standing in this position and I extend my hip, it's not going to make me go forward. It's just going to tilt my pelvis backwards. And so for people who think that you're supposed to push off to do the swing through phase of gait, this is actually what would happen. And I want you to practice this. Push back with your hip, and that is what's going to happen if you try to initiate the swing through phase of gait in that manner. What we need to do to execute the swing phase correctly is not push the hip backwards. We need to lift the hip forwards. Then we have the swing through, and then now we're going to rotate the upper part of the core to bring the heel down, change weight, and then lift forward again to execute the next step. Find your position, pelvis tucked, rotated forward on your right side, and left hip flexed. Go ahead and lift forward and then bring your heel down and begin to walk. It should feel like you're flowing forward or gliding forward, not pushing forward. You should not notice any forward lean of the body whatsoever when you initiate the swing through. If you notice that you're pitching forward as you go, that means you're rotating both sides of the upper core forward at the same time. That is what is going to lean the body forward, and that will accompany often trying to extend your hip. If you're using the core rotation correctly and you extend your hip, you're going to get that. If you use the core rotation incorrectly, meaning I'm going to turn forward on the right and forward on the left, and I extend my hip, that's where you're going to crash forward, leaning and crashing the heel into the ground with a hard impact. Thanks so much for watching this video. Go ahead and check out the channel so you can see all the other videos on walking technique that are going to help you move with more confidence, move with more fluidity, and move with less impact on your joints.